I'm not going to say these mantas were that big, but I reckon they were 4 to 5. They were 4 to 5 metre wide. They were big, but not
massive.
that big.
Yeah. They were massive.
Right? So they're feeding on these jelly prawns. I'm on the bow of the boat, and there's a little stool. So you're not, like, you've probably got your shins going over the side of the boat, right? Like if you... Anyway, so I'm filming them as they're doing this, and I can remember following this one as he's doing this somersault, and I'm following him down like this, and then I can remember seeing his eye. Like, if that's your screen, his eye would have been like that big. That's how close he was to me. But then I realised he's under my feet. Next thing I know, the boat's getting pushed that way. I've got a 15-kilo camera on my shoulder, and I'm falling in the water that way. And this is a spot where the day before we couldn't land a fish because all the bull sharks were just ripping them apart.
We did 6 years of this show, travelling all around the world. Colin and I got this contract very early on in our careers. We're in our early 20s. We got this. It was really exciting. First of all, I know when we all did it, it was just kind of one-man band. You'd go with the fishermen, you'd go to whatever part of the world you go into, you film it. When we first started, the first season or two, it was a two-man gig. So Colin and I got this contract, one of the very first, if not the first contract we got to make a documentary or a series, an adventure series. And one of the greatest episodes that we did, or a couple of episodes that we did, we went to the top of Cape York, which is the tip of Australia, which is really remote for people that don't know how remote it is. It's like swamp and bushland and crocodiles and sharks and just jellyfish, and it's just beautiful country too. Like, it is rugged, remote.
It's wild.
Wild. Like, I'm so glad so much of it is protected. A lot of it isn't as well, but it is a beautiful country. So the point of Australia, up the top, down that western cape, which is just the western side of the cape, which is just all remote. Couple of little towns along the way, there's not a bitumen road going there. It's all very, very remote. So we did 2 weeks. Was it 2 weeks or 10 days? We went down the west side on a mothership on a big boat where we'd fish off.
What was the boat called? You remember?
No, it was with a guy called Greg Bethune. But shit, I don't know what his boat was called, but it was out of Sieh, which is kind of there's a little kind of port town right at the top.
Right at the tip. If you're going to get to the Torres Strait, you're going out of there.
Yeah. So you're closer to Papua New Guinea than any other Australian town or anything like that. Way closer to Papua New Guinea. So we were there, and so we had 10 days or 2 weeks to take this mothership fishing and stopping off in the rivers, and it was a big, beautiful ship. And we had a few little tenders off the back where we would go off and fish in the little tenders for the day and then catch up to the main boat. We'd pull into a river. So we did one episode fishing out of the main boat and one episode where we were in a jet ski, and the guy was actually filming racing down the beach on a jet ski because you could cover so much more ground and find the fish, and then fishing off the back of the jet ski. And it was an amazing experience.
Unreal.
But I'll let you take over the story, mate, because I know we were there, and you got owned by a giant manta ray. And I've since talked to some manta ray experts who are very interested if we can track down that footage of that manta ray feeding.
Mate, I'd love to, but there's a reason why it doesn't exist anymore, which we'll talk about. But my memory of it was that we were filming a couple of manta rays feeding on jelly prawns.
Yeah.
And they were doing somersaults.
Morning, it was kind of early morning, flat calm ocean. We're on a little fishing boat. We're just cruising along in 2 meters of water, looking for fish, schools of fish, different things to cast out. And then we spotted these giant manta rays, which were, as you said, feeding on jelly prawns. Yeah. And so they were...
And so for people that may not have seen a manta ray or have the concept of that, these things can be, I think, 4 to 5 meters wide and 1.5 to 2 tons in weight.
This is something for Az to look up. Az, have a look.
Yes.
This is
why he's here.
This is why he's here. Az, my man.
I'm going to say 4 to 5 meter wingspan. I'm going 4 to 5 meter wingspan, and I'm going 1.5 to 2 tons.
Yeah, no, that's pretty good.
That's what I'm saying.
That's a big fish.
Az will let me know.
That's like the size of an elephant. So this is
That's bigger than the Corolla. That's heavier than the Corolla.
That's heavier than your Toyota Corolla.
Mate, they are huge. And the thing...
you want giant mantas too.
And the thing is, the reason fishermen like them is because you get these other big fish that hover with them for protection and cover. So you can catch big cobia, big trevally. And so what they'll do is they'll flick lures at them in the hope of trying to get one of these other big fish to hook on. But they're feeding on this big school of jelly prawns. What do we got in terms of weight and
so
size
here we go.
here, Az?
The biggest one recorded 1,000 kilos.
There you go, a ton.
No, hang on. It says they're large adults, 1,600 kilos. So 1.5 ton.
I'm reading here. What's the largest manta ray? That's the largest one caught.
Okay.
5 to 7 meters.
5 to 7 meter wingspan. Fucking huge,
That's
eh?
big.
That's
They're
massive.
That's
big.
Yeah.
They are big. So I should know this because for Crikey, it's the Irwins. Last year we did a manta rays episode. I think there's 2 types of manta rays, and there's the giant ocean manta ray is the one that we're talking about, which is the elephant of the sea.
So they was doing these somersaults, and I was on the bow of the boat, and it was an 18-foot long boat.
Sorry, I'll interrupt you there.
That's right.
Hit me.
7 meters.
7 meters wide.
Wingspan, weighing up to 3,000 kilos.
There you go.
3,000
3,000.
kilos.
That's
How many
that's a
Corollas
troopy.
is that?
That's a troopy. That's heavier
That's
than
a
a
troop
troopy.
carrier.
That's heavier than a troopy.
So look, I'm not
That's a
gonna
fully laden troopy.
I'm not going to say these
Yeah.
mantas were that big, but
And
I
there's
reckon
2
they were
types,
4 to 5. They were
That's big.
4 to 5 meter wide. They were big,
They
but
were
not
massive.
that big.
Yeah.
They were massive.
Right, so they're feeding on these jelly prawns. I'm on the bow of the boat, and there's a little stool, so you're not like you've probably got your shins going over the side of the boat, right? Like anyway. So I'm filming them as they're doing this, and I can remember following this one as he's doing this somersault, and I'm following him down like this, and then I can remember seeing his eye, like if that's your screen. His eye would have been like that big. That's how close he was to me. But then I realised he's under my feet. Next thing I know, the boat's getting pushed that way. I've got a 15-kilo camera on my shoulder, and I'm falling in the water that way. And this is a spot where the day before we couldn't land a fish because all the bull sharks were just ripping them apart.
Tiger sharks, it was
And
all
tigers,
tiger
everything.
shark.
Yeah.
You look down through the water column beneath us, and there was just sharks, like the classic. They were all circling in a kind of
Yeah.
school.
Sort of around your feet.
Well, yeah, just below the
Mate.
boat, like as far as you could see, there was layers on layers and layers of shark.
There's a
Yeah,
great
right.
shark story to come out of this too, actually,
yeah.
on this same boat. And all I remember is just hitting the water, and I'm fully clothed because, we're it's not a nude fishing show.
It wasn't Noodle Alley.
It wasn't Noodle Alley. And I can remember hitting the water, and I looked up, and I've still got the camera, and I'm looking up, and I was shocked at how deep I was. Like, I literally just went in and sank. And so I'm pushing the camera up to try and save the camera, and then someone grabs the camera out, and I'm pushing myself up to get out. And next thing I know, I don't know whether it was you or Micah or who, I can't remember, Shannon, who we were with. But someone grabbed me by my belt on my pants and reefed me into the boat. Because, again, you're in croc country, jellyfish, and we couldn't land a fish because there were sharks everywhere.
Just the power. Remember, the thing that I remember is the power of that animal. We weren't in a real stable boat. We were in one of those, I think they're called long boats, which are
long and skinny.
they're long and skinny boats that a lot of the islands use up that way, which is the easiest boat to get for the tender to get up that way. They don't have these nice kind of flat fishing boats, so they're the traditional boat of the kind of area. So they're really unstable, but they're really heavy. They're thick kind of timber boats. And so for this thing to pick it up and literally move a boat, which is probably 5 or 6 meters long, probably even longer, pick it up and throw it 10 meters.
It was like
and
a
just
loony.
one flick.
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like one flick of its thing, because it flipped over, went upside down, and it must have gone under the boat. And then realised,
Seeing the good-looking Cole.
just going, here's this goofy little guy filming me, and then bam, hits us. We go flying. I just remember because Cole, he stayed still. Like we
It's
went
like
up
a
in the
Looney
air.
Tunes episode, like Wile E. Coyote going off the cliff,
Yeah,
and then suddenly,
yeah, and the boat went flying, and you just stayed in there, and then just went straight down. And we were 5 meters away. We had to kind of get over to you, drag you in. That was intense. And then after that, we had to.
Well, the camera was screwed, so that's
Yeah,
why we
that
don't
was
have any
screwed.
footage. You can tell your Manta Ray mates, sorry.
No, but we filmed. I remember the morning before we filmed them feeding as well. but from a little bit of a distance. I think we were catching fish at
right.
the time, but I know there's footage from the day before that I'd love to track down.
That'll be in your storage shed, mate.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
in mine.
I'm not going
In one of those
searching
shoe
through.
boxes.
But because we were
yeah.
so remote, and it cost a lot of money to go on these charter boats. It cost a lot of money to go on these charter boats, so we had to fly a helicopter, get a helicopter to fly us another camera out there the next morning to keep filming. And I can remember saying to the guy, "Well, this has cost us so much money. Might as well just give us 30 minutes in the air to get a few aerials of the boat, of the landscape, etc., etc." And I can remember being up in the chopper filming, and every 200-300 meters, 15-foot tiger shark. There's a couple of bull sharks. There's a crocodile. Oh yeah, sweet. And then we did that hike. We did that hike to that waterfall. Remember?
Yeah.
And we were going to try and catch some tarpon or something up.
Hang on, I'm gonna jump in here because Greg Bethune he's a legend, old sea dog
Oh,
guy.
I know
right?
what you're going to say.
So he's a,
You
This is the
asshole.
captain.
You're a
yeah,
dick.
he's the captain of the boat. He's a
The captain,
legendary
okay.
old kind
Captain,
of sea
sorry.
dog. Runs the boat, goes to, takes the boat through remote areas of PNG. You get on his boat and you respect the man, So, and he's like this old salty sea dog,
It's crusty and leathery.
sand,
Yeah.
leather skin, tough guy. Just always has got the Hawaiian shirt kind of half open, the board shorts, no shoes on, real tough. So he's taking us to this waterfall, right? Here's a couple of kind of city kids coming out, just pretending we're tough like the captain. We get out, and it's, you know how tough that country is up there. It's dry, it's hot, there's snakes, there's spiders, there's dry grass, and it's you wouldn't survive.
Everything's
long.
sharp.
Everything's sharp. So
Good
we're there.
segue, Sieh.
Yeah, everything's really sharp. And so we go, and he's hiking us to this beautiful waterfall that he knows. So everyone else is putting on their hiking boots. Cole turns to me and goes, "Greg's got no shoes on. I'm not wearing shoes."
How I roll, Sieh.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
Greg didn't wear pants, I wouldn't have had pants either.
So Cole decided not
Did
to
he?
wear
Well-
shoes. And I reckon it was about 2 or 3 minutes into this couple K hike where Cole started complaining that everything was sharp
Like it was
and
sharp.
hot, and his feet were getting sliced.
man.
And Greggy boy, he's 100 meters ahead of us. We're struggling to keep up with him on a good day. But here's old Cole, no shoes, doing the old dance of shame for 2Ks to the
On
bloody
the hot rocks.
on the
Oh,
hot
yeah.
rocks on the sharp thing. Just because the captain's got no shoes on doesn't mean the 25-year-old guy.
Well, I do have a history of biting off a little bit more than I could chew,
Correct.
and then staying with it to prove a point, no matter how painful it is.
Yeah, you stuck with it.